In the last CSS battle, I went up against Kevin Powell and just barely lost to him. And in this CSS battle, I'm going to be going against Adrian, my favorite Australian. And before we jump over to him, let's do a quick recap of the rules. Essentially, we have 3 different rounds. Whoever wins 2 of the 3 rounds is the overall winner. And each round we have a 10-minute time limit. Whoever completes the round at 100% completion first is the winner. But if neither of us complete the entire round, then whoever is the closest to 100% at the end of those 10 minutes is crowned the winner. So let's go jump over to see how Adrian's doing.
Okay, time to do a CSS battle. I better make sure I look good. Oh, what? My hair. It's terrible. How can I compete with Kyle? This just doesn't work. I need to do something about this. Maybe I can quickly touch up my appearance. Yep. Alright. This probably can't compete with Kyle's hair, but it'll do. Hi, my name's Adrian and I'm from Australia. I do videos around design and development on my YouTube channel, which you can check out in the link in the description below. So Kyle, you better get ready. Bring everything that you have because today I'm gonna simplify the web for you. And if you're wondering why my hair looks so good, I can't really help you out because I wake up this way.
Okay, so this first battle we have to create this sunset looking image. Shouldn't be too difficult, just a lot of circles essentially. So the very first thing I want to do is I want to get our body and I want to set it up with that dark background color. So let's just come in here and we'll use, whoops, copy that, dark background color, there we go. Then we're going to need to have a couple divs. This one div here is going to be for encapsulating everything. We're just going to give this a class of container. So inside of our container, we're going to have a background, which is equal to this color, I believe. These are all really similar colors. They're kind of hard to tell apart. We're going to put a width in here of like 200 pixels, and let's try a height of 300 pixels. And we need to make sure that this is centered, so we can just, we'll just use Flexbox for that. And display, flex, justify, content, center, align, items, center. Okay. It's definitely too big, so we'll try like 200 and 100. The 200 height is correct, but it looks like it's maybe 150 pixels wide. There we go. And we're going to have a border radius on the top, and this border radius is going to be 100% on the top, and on the bottom, maybe like 10%. Looks like it's maybe more like 20% on the bottom. This top is actually not 100%, it's like 80% maybe? No, not even 80, like 50? Maybe even less, like 20? No, 30 or 40, I guess. Nope. Maybe it is 50.
Oh, try again. Oh, try again. Oh, try again.
No, that's not quite it. Also, this bottom is a little bit too big. Maybe it is 10%. Yeah, 10% is definitely what the bottom is. This top is not quite 50. It's like 45 maybe.
All right, we've got our first challenge, which is this sunset looking thing. So let's just jump straight into it. What I might do is create a tag here called body. And after that, I think I'll do a display flex, justify content center, maybe align items center. And then we'll grab this background color and place this in here. Beautiful. Now we've got these weird looking sunset things. So what I might do is I might create the top circle first. I'll do a class here, do top half circle, and make sure I spell that correctly. And then let's grab this in here and paste it in as a class. And I think this has a width of maybe 150 and a height of maybe 100 pixels, I think. And we also have a bit of a background color here, which I'll apply in there. And we'll do border top left radius 50%. Ooh, maybe let's leave it at 50% for now, and bottom right radius 50%. Let's increase the height to 150. So that looks about right. I'm pretty happy with that. Then what we can do is inside of here, we could possibly, let's leave it for the time being. We'll create a another one down here. We'll call this bottom half circle, or bottom half maybe. And for the bottom half, let's create a class for that. And we're gonna do something similar here, except for this, we'll probably need to do a just flex direction of column. And I'm gonna remove the top here for the border radius and put it at the bottom. Beautiful. Then we'll probably just do this at like 15 pixels or something like that. That should be better. And maybe the height at about 50 pixels. Maybe also a negative margin at the top of 50 pixels. Maybe 25 pixels. So that is a little bit better. It's not exactly centered though, which is a bit weird. I do want it to be centered. So I suppose let's get rid of this for the time being. And if we change the height on this to say 100 pixels, it loses the styling. And I do want that styling in there. This is tricky. Maybe let's do 25 pixels here. All right, what we could do is we could wrap these two in a parent container, and that should center them a little bit better, I think. Okay, maybe it hasn't centered them very well there. Oh, okay. Definitely have to increase the height just a little bit. That looks like the perfect amount of height there. It's just that the margin isn't right. So what I might do here for the top half is margin top 50 pixels, maybe 25 pixels, and there we go. That's almost right. I think it also needs a little bit more height, so let's do 75 pixels here. A little bit too much, maybe 60 pixels. Oh, maybe the margin on the top has to be a little bit more. Let's try 40 pixels from the top. All right, that looks almost right. 41, yeah, 41 pixels from the top is just about right. Somehow, yeah, that's more or less perfect. Now for this border radius, I'm going to increase that to 20 and 20.
So the next thing we need to do is these circles in the corners. They're going to go inside of here. So we're going to have a div with a class of right. Close off that div. We're going to have a couple other divs. This one's going to be center. And then we're going to have a left to get these three different circles. So we're going to start with our right one. Our right one has this dark brown color, I believe. There we go. Width is like 100 pixels, height 100 pixels, and border radius is 100%. And it looks like it's actually a little bit bigger, so maybe like 150, 150. Container, we need to make sure we have overflow hidden. And we want this to be in the bottom left, so we could say position relative. And for this one, position absolute. Make sure I spell position correctly. We want the bottom to be negative 75 pixels, and we want the right to be negative 75 pixels. That way the dead center is in that corner. And there we go. Now we just need to make this bigger, so maybe like 300. And then this would have to be like 150. All right, to make this a little bit easier, we're going to do a transform translate negative 50% in both directions. That means that we can just set these to 0. And then that should work. We need it to be 50%. There we go. So 300 was too big. Try 200. 200 is dead on. Okay, now we move on to left. And the left is very similar to the right, so I'm just going to copy this. Except for we need our left side to be 0 and our translate to be negative 50% in that direction. And the color is this orange looking color here. There we go. And we just want this to be behind, so we're going to move our left up here above the right. Now finally, we have our center, which is all the way in the back, so we're going to move that to the top. And center is going to be very similar to these two. Okay, and this color is this whitish color here. And we're going to have a no left here, and no bottom, because this is in the dead center, actually. So let's just change this to like 100 pixels by 100 pixels. And we're gonna say is for this up here in our container, we'll just say display flex, justify content center, and align items center. There we go, that centers that for us. And the center is a little bit smaller. We'll try maybe 50 pixels. That seems to be the right side. We're just gonna position this relative. And we're gonna say top is like, I don't know, 25 pixels. It needs to be maybe a little bit bigger. Let's see. Yeah, it needs to be slightly bigger. So we'll do like 55. And the top is like 10, 20. Okay, it looks like it needs to be a little bit bigger. So we'll do 60. That looks dead on. And now the top is the only thing we have to worry about. I'm going to submit this to see what we're at so far, just to give us a baseline. 99.9. We really just got to smooth out that top.
Not even close, bud.
And now we just need these two sunsets. We've 3 minutes in, so we're doing all right. So for this, I might do bottom left. I can't do autocomplete, so let's actually just copy this div here. Let's do bottom left circle. And for the bottom left circle, we might do that as a position of relative here. And for this one, bottom left circle, position absolute. Let's do maybe left negative 50%, top negative 50%, width say 200 pixels, height 200 pixels, and border radius 50%. And for the background, let's grab this darker orange and paste that in there. And I think that's it. I'm missing something here. Let's do a border of 1 pixel solid red, because I can't see where this is. Okay, so what's happened is this bottom half doesn't have the position of relative. I didn't put it in the right place, so that's better. And I might move that back to negative 50% and negative 50% here. Remove the 1 pixel there. And over here, what I'm gonna do is do a overflow of hidden. Okay, that doesn't look very good at all. Height, let's increase the height to 150 and margin top of negative 150 pixels. That's too much. Maybe negative 50 here and 100 here. Still a little bit too much. I think I have to increase this circle 100% from the bottom and 100% from the... Okay, I'm failing here really badly. What am I gonna do? I swear I could do this, but it's just not working out right now. All right, let's see. So we've got this bit here for the height, 100 pixels. No, let's see. All right, so instead of negative 50%, I might do just negative 100 pixels here and negative 100 pixels from the bottom there. And there we go, we got that. Okay, we're back in. So let's do bottom right half, I suppose, of the circle. How much time do we have? All right, 4 minutes left. We can finish this off, I believe. Let's grab this as the right half. And this has a darker shade, so let's copy that over. And then we only have the little sunset thing here. So this sunset thing probably is this one over here. And I'm just gonna call this sunset to make the class nice and simple. And this almost has to be, what is it? It's a light color. It's probably only like 50 pixels. And where is it? It's like right in the center. So we have 3 minutes left 50%. And then let's do a transform, translate X, negative 50%. Come on. There we go. A little bit higher it has to be, but that's okay. I can fix that up in a sec. Let's do, so Z index 50. And for these two, I can do a higher Z index of 51. Beautiful. And then just make this circle a little bit bigger. So maybe say 60 pixels. And then move it up a little bit. So margin top, -5 pixels. Oh, that's pretty much almost perfect. We're just getting it capped off at the top there a little bit, which is not good at all. We have 1 minute 30 left, so let's try and boost this up just a little bit. So I might do this height as 10 pixels and 60 pixels, so we still have the same there. And that looks about right. So let's actually get rid of this negative margin that I'm getting. And there, perfect. All right, submit. Ping. 9 minutes. What? 91%. Come on, that's perfect. Oh, come on! How is that 91%? Surely not. All right, here's our next challenge. This one looks like a bat symbol.
I'm Batman.
It looks a little bit tricky to do, but let's give it a try. So again, what I'm going to do is jump in here for the body and do display block. Oh, sorry, display flex. Justify content center and align items center. Great. And let's quickly add in the background here and spell background correctly. Man, I'm so used to autocomplete. It's so strange without it. Then we've got this div here. And for this div, I'm just going to leave it as is, but I'm going to here do a background here, which will be the bat symbol or the essence of the bat symbol once we start it up. So let's just put it right in here. And the first thing I'm going to do is set up the background color, which is right over there. Do a position of, say, relative, and do a width of maybe 250 pixels and a height of maybe 75 pixels. So let's have a look at that. That might need to be boosted up a little bit, but that's okay. We'll also do a margin top here of maybe -5 pixels, maybe 15, maybe even 20. So let's have a look. So 20 is still not enough. 22, 24, maybe 25. Beautiful. So that looks just about right. And it needs a little bit more height. So I'm going to do maybe 77 pixels. No, maybe 80 pixels. So let's have a look at that. That looks almost perfect. Maybe a little bit more, 82 pixels. And that's almost there at the bottom. 84 pixels. Yeah, we'll do 84 pixels. So we've got the outline now. Now we can start customizing the design so that we can probably do the head first. Let's do div class head. Close that off. And then what I want to do is pass it in here, head. And I want to do that as a position of absolute. Now left 50%. And then we probably want to do a width of 50 pixels or maybe even 80 pixels. A background of red so we can see it for now, and a height of 20 pixels. Maybe 40. Yeah, about 35. Yeah, 35 pixels is good. The other thing we want to do is, oh, that's odd. All right, that's... Anyway, let's quickly fix up the height here because it looks like I got the height wrong. Let's move that down to be a little bit better aligned. So -16, -17, -18, 19, 20.
14, 15.
This is really odd with the centering because it should just be centered properly, but it doesn't seem to be doing it. Anyway. So then we do transform, translate. We'll do the x-axis at -50%, and that should center it. So there we have that. We'll decrease the height here to maybe 32, maybe 30. So that's great. And then we'll do a border left, border bottom left radius. And I'll do that at, say 10 pixels. That looks about right, yep. And we'll do that on the right side too. And then finally put in the color that we had in here. So that's just there.
Okay, so for this one, we need to create this Bat Mickey shape. This looks actually pretty difficult, not gonna lie. So, as we always do, we wanna get the body set up with a nice background here. And also, while we're at it, I'm just gonna do display flex, justify the content in the center, and I wanna align items in the center as well, just so we can get our shape in the center. And then this div right here, we're gonna call our body. And the body is just going to be a rectangle. I'm going to cut out of it with circles. So body and background here is that. Let's make sure we set our width here to be maybe like 200 pixels. And our height is like 100 pixels. Probably a little bit too tall, not quite wide enough. Yeah, maybe this is like 250. That looks like about the right width. The height is a little bit too tall, so we'll try 75 pixels. Even that looks a little bit tall, potentially. No. I think 100 pixels is right, because it lines up on the top and the bottom will be cut away with circles. Okay, so now the next step is the hard part where we have all of our circles. So let's just create a bunch of divs. This is going to be left, bottom. Actually, let's just be left, dot left. And we want this to have a position of absolute, a background. For now, we're just going to set to red so we can see it easier, but eventually we're going to change it to the same color as our body background. It's going to have a width of 200 pixels, height of 200 pixels, and its position absolute doesn't seem to be working. Make sure we put it on our body as well. Okay, that looks way too big. 100, 100. I don't know why, if I spelled absolute correctly, maybe it would work. Okay, there we go. And border radius 50, or I'm sorry, 100%, either way, it doesn't matter. And we want our left to be 0. That actually looks like it might line up if we just make this bigger. Okay, that definitely doesn't line up. But it does need to be bigger, so we'll try 125, 125. That actually looks really close. Like right there, it lines up pretty perfectly. She goes a little bit too tall, so we're gonna try doing a like top of 50, 100. Ooh, okay. Really close, really, really close. We'll try like 130. A little bit too wide, so maybe 120 on the width. No. Okay, so how tall is our entire body? It's 100 pixels high. So if we make our circle 100 by 100 to be the exact same size here. And then if we just make the left like 50, that's too big, 25. There we go, that cuts in the exact right spot. So now all we do is just copy our background from our body. Whoops, zoomed out there by accident. We just paste it onto this background. Whoops, I want this background right here. There we go, and now we got the cutout.
Now we just need the other part of the head, which is the body of the head. So let's do a copy here of this class. We'll do this head body. And let's pass it in here. Let's do a width of say 20 pixels, a height of say 20 pixels. We'll do a display of flex, justify content of center. And we'll do a line items of flex, and I think that should be it. And background here red so we can see it. So that's the head there. We'll get the right color for that. And then we just have to draw in the ears. So let's do, say, let's copy this. We'll do left and right ear. And for the left ear, we'll do that as a position absolute as well. I do like my absolute positions, so we'll do that as maybe 5 pixels, 5 pixels, do red, absolute. Let's do, say, left -20, let's do -40 pixels, and top -40 pixels. And what happened here? The head body should have a position of relative, which it does. So why is this one not working? Is it not nested properly? It's very odd. Because that should be just at the top of my ear. And we're 5 minutes in as well. So head, body, maybe head here. Let's see what's going on. So we've got our head, then we've got our head body, which is just over here. Let's do position relative. Okay, so that's definitely working, but our position relative doesn't seem to be relative to our head body. Let's do border 1 pixel solid red on our head body. So there it is. And then with the ear, what I might do is I might just make sure this is all working properly. And I'm gonna paste this in here. We don't have any extra divs. 1, 2, 3. We're missing one closing div. That's really strange. Maybe I've called it the wrong thing. No. Okay. Oh, I've made it too far. All right. No worries. That's fine. That's fine. So we can do that as 10 pixels, which I think it's meant to be. Then left, -5 pixels. And top, -5 pixels. And border, radius, 50%. Then we'll fill in the color. That's one. And then let's fill out the other one. And this one can be on the right. So let's copy this ear across. Right ear, 50%. And we'll do this as right. So there we've got our 2 ears and our body, and we'll take out the border radius line that we were doing.
So now I just need to do this exact same thing a bunch of different times. So we got our left bottom here. Left bottom. And our left bottom is going to be very similar. I think the circle's a different size, but we'll get to that problem when we get there. I'm going to again change the color to red. This time I want the left to be 50, maybe 75 actually. The top is going to be like 150. Okay, it still needs to go more left, so we'll try 100. And we'll try like 175 here. No, that's too far. Potentially. Yeah, we'll try 150. Because 150 is too high up. But it could just be that our circle is not the right size. Maybe if we do like a 90 pixels. No. I think this is correct. We're just going to change this to like 160. See, I think this circle is a different size. Well, let's first of all just get our right side position done, because that one is very easy. It's just a direct clone of this, but we use right here instead. So if we just copy left, paste it down, call this right, boom, we have our cutout on the right hand side as well. And we might as well do the cutout on the top and make sure we get our closing div in here. Because our top I think is actually pretty easy. So we'll come in here, we'll say top, and we're going to say that this is going to have a background of red, width is 100 pixels, height is 100 pixels, height doesn't really matter that much. And we want to have position absolute, top is 0, 50 pixels, and border radius is going to be 10%. Okay, it's a little bit too wide. So we're going to try here 780. 80 looks like the right height. Change this to like, we can keep this as 100 pixels. We just need to make our top smaller. Nope, 30. That lines up pretty correctly in my opinion. So we just give it the correct background color. And boom. There we go. Okay, so now we have these bottom circles, which are just a nightmare to figure out, it looks like. Gosh, 3.5 minutes left. So this left bottom, the circle itself is mostly lining up. It needs to be a little bit wider, so we'll try 110 pixels wide. Okay, that actually lines up perfectly. I'll just change the background color here. Again, I did that zoom out by accident. There we go. And then we just need to have another thing. We'll call this left bottom B. Just copy this, left bottom B. It doesn't have to be exact. Essentially, I just want to make something that covers that position, so we'll just change our left 150, or I'm sorry, 50. And our top is going to be 200. Oops, too far. 170. There we go. That cuts off too much, though. Let's change this color to red to see. So it looks like we need to actually cut off a little bit more. So our width up here needs to be like 120. Or 110, 100. No, maybe 110 was right. Because that lined up so perfectly. It's just over here it doesn't quite line up for some reason. So our border radius, what needs to be changed? Oh, I'm not going to worry about that right now. Let's change this back here. And we just need to clone this over to the right-hand side. So we have right to bottom B, and we just change these from left to right. Hopefully that should be all we need. We can just copy these, change it to right and right. Okay, and we got 90% of the shape here.
Now we just need the left wing and the right wing, and these wings are going to be hard to do. I guess we can do little circles, right? So let's do, let's copy this class over here, do left wing 1, close that off, and copy this class over here. We'll do that as maybe position absolute. Left -50, maybe just 0 pixels. This has a width of maybe 50 pixels and a height of maybe 50 pixels and a border radius of 50 pixels. And let's do a background of red. All right, where is that? That's there. So that definitely needs to be a lot bigger. Maybe say 75 pixels. And 75 pixels, and then it probably has to be margin left -50 pixels, maybe more, and then margin top -5 pixels. There we go, and then let's copy over this color, and that looks okay, but it needs to be way bigger, and we're running out of time, which is terrible. Let's do the width as 125 pixels. And the height is 125 pixels. Oh, this is hard. This circle is not looking anything like I need it to. I'm not going to even be able to finish this at this rate. Oh, come on. What can we do here? Say -75 pixels off the left. Oh, that's perfect. There we go. Okay. We've got 10 seconds left, but I don't think we're going to make it in time. I'm going to submit it so you can have a look at the score. It's probably going to be terrible. 95%. I got 95%. Okay.
I'm going to say background is this color. Width is 50 pixels. Height 50 pixels. I think that's way too big. We'll just immediately chop that down to 20. And what do we want this to be positioned? We'll say position absolute. For now, just change this to red so it's easy to see. Top is 100 pixels, 125 pixels, 110 pixels. Is that the right size? It honestly looks a little bit wide potentially. That looks way too small though. Whatever, we'll stick with it for now. Because right now, I'm just trying to get it good enough. It doesn't have to be 100% perfect, even though we could just come in here and say like 18 pixels, and that's probably the right size. Yeah, that looks right. Okay, now we want the ears. We're really low on time here. Copy the head. Ear. It's going to have a border radius of 100%. And we want the left to be 100 pixels, 200 pixels, 50 pixels. Whoops. So 100 pixels, 200 pixels, 10 by 10. This is 100 and 5. And this is like 205. And not quite what we're looking for. Okay, that's close enough. We just ran out of time, so let's submit this and see what we get for our score. By 99.8, that's a little bit generous if you ask me, but good enough.
All right, let's try this. Let's see how we go. All right, we've got this bell. This looks really odd, but we'll work with it. We'll work with it. So let's do body, display, flex, background. Let's put it in here. Let's do justify, content, center, align, items, center. Beautiful. In our div here, we're going to do our main bell. How are we going to do this? Let's see. Main dash bell. I'll do this as a class. Main bell. Let's close that off. And then after that, what can we do? I think the main bell. Oh, that's like a Z index, but that's okay. What we can do in the main bell is pass it in here with this background color. A height of, say, what, 200 pixels? Wait, that's too much. 150? Too much. 100? No, too little. 125. It's almost there. And then let's get rid of this text. It needs to be offset a little bit. Margin top, -25 pixels. Maybe a little bit less. -20. Maybe a little less. -15. So that's about right. And then we'll do a border top left radius of 50%. And we'll do the same. Oh, no, that's terrible. That's not what I want. Let's do, say, 50 pixels. And then we'll do the same here on the right, 50 pixels. All right, that's looking good. Probably gonna remove this div background. This is probably what's been killing me before. Let's get rid of that. So we just have the main bell here. And then for the height, do 100 pixels. And the width, 100 pixels. Beautiful. So it's a little bit more than 100, maybe 110, maybe 105. Yeah, it looks like actually it's a little bit more than that. Maybe it is 110. Maybe even more, maybe 125. No, that's way too much. 120? Yeah, that looks pretty good. Maybe just a few less. And margin top, maybe. What if we got rid of this? Yeah, that's perfect. All right. Then do border bottom left radius. Say 10 pixels, just like a tiny little bit. And bottom bottom right radius 10 pixels. So that's a little bit better. The height I'm going to increase to 130 pixels. And this here I might increase to 75 pixels and 75. It's still too high, like it needs to be maybe 120 as well. Oh, that's perfect. Look at that.
Okay, for this one, we have to create this bell-like shape here. This shouldn't be too bad, I don't think. So the very first thing that I want to do inside of here is just get our background the right color. So background, background. Of course, this is body already succumbing to the pressure. The next thing I want to do is create this bell shape. This is going to be an interesting one. So we're just going to give this a class here of bell, come down dot bell. And we want the background to be this color, I believe. Width is going to be 100 pixels. And height, we'll say 200 pixels. Looks like it's about 150 pixels wide. And we'll center that with display flex, justify content center, and align items center. Okay, it looks like maybe 100 pixels or 150 pixels tall and maybe 100 pixels wide. Maybe 125 pixels wide. 120? It's a weird shaped object here. That looks pretty close. Height is too much, so we'll try like 120 high. There we go. And now we just need our border radius. On the top, it looks like 50%. And on the bottom, we'll try like 10%. That looks to be correct to me. So now we're going to work on the bottom part. Whoops, don't have Emmet installed. And I'm going to copy this one more time to give us the top. Whoops. There we go. And the bottom actually needs to go up here above the bell so the bell can show up on top of them. So our bottom, I'm going to copy this code. There's a lot of similarities here. Our color is this light color, or actually the bottom is the dark color. Our width is like 60 pixels. It looks about half the size, and that'll be the same for our height. And our border radius is 100%. There we go. And to make everything easier, we're just going to use position absolute. That way things stack on top of each other. Position absolute. There we go. And let's come in here and we're going to say that our top is going to be like 200 pixels. 175 pixels. Is that correct? This looks a little bit too big, so we'll try 50 by 50. And then we have to drop it down a little bit to like 180 pixels. 185 pixels. Boom, that looks perfect. Now we can move on to the top, which is very similar to the bottom. So I'm just going to copy this top, get this light color here, paste that in. Our top here is going to be much smaller. So what's the height of our entire thing? It's 120, so this would be like 65 essentially. And it looks like maybe 70 is correct. No, 65 looked better. Let's see if this is right. It looks a little bit off, but maybe it's close enough. Okay, there we go, 100% match, and that only took almost 4 minutes. That's actually pretty quick, not surprised.
Then I'm gonna copy this, and we'll do bell dash top, or main dash top. Let's do that here. 3 minutes in, not bad. We'll do this as a position of absolute. We'll do the top as maybe -20 pixels. Width maybe 20 pixels. Height 20 pixels. Border radius 50%. And let's do a background of red just to see where it is. That's going to need to be bigger, so I'm just going to do that to 40 and 40. Let's do a left of 50% and a transform. Translate X -50%. That's centered. Still needs to be a little bit bigger, so I'm going to do that at 50 pixels here and there. And I'm pretty happy with that. It just needs to be offset a little bit more from the top, so I'm going to do -25, and that's perfect. And then I'm just going to change the background color here. So that's going to be there, and Z index can be -1. It just needs to be maybe 1 pixel smaller, but that's okay. Let's paste this in at the bottom too. And for the bottom one, I'm going to copy over the same styling over here. And this time I just put it at the bottom, and we'll set the color to be a little bit different. There we go. Beautiful. So this top one maybe just needs to be out by maybe 2 pixels, maybe even 1 pixel. It's not much, but once we get it perfect, we can pretty much submit. So I'm pretty happy with that. I do think that maybe it's 1 pixel off, but I'm going to click submit. We're 5 minutes in, and that's 100%. So that's awesome. I'm really excited to see what the results are. I'm thinking that Kyle might have beat me this time around, but I might invite him to my channel next time and give him a run for his money.
So the results are in, and it looks like I was able to beat Adrian at this CSS battle. I'm not gonna lie, he definitely should have beat me in the first round, but a win's a win, so I'm gonna take what I can, and I just wanna say a huge thank you to Adrian for coming on. It was a ton of fun, and I just can't wait to do this again.